Most people don't know voters in jails can vote. The majority of people who are incarcerated in jails in the United States, which is upwards of 500,000 people, as many as 750,000 people, are eligible to vote. As an Equal Justice Works Fellow at the Campaign Legal Center, what I focus on is removing barriers to the ballot box for incarcerated eligible voters. There are a few jails in this country, a very small handful, that make some version of an in-person voting option available. And there are a few states that have particular mechanisms in state law that provide for different kinds of voting in jail. That also adds additional layers of complexity to this issue, right? If you're in jail, how are you getting an envelope? How are you getting an absentee ballot request form? Or what I do in my project is kind of figure out where those problems exist and solve them. Voters in jail are those who are most directly impacted by the decisions our elected officials make. So when you talk about who we're electing down ballot, you're talking about district attorneys, you're talking about maybe judges, state legislators who decide what to criminalize and what not to criminalize. They have a very important and particular advantage onto how our government is working because they're experiencing directly the decisions that our elected officials are making. When I think about jail-based disenfranchisement, one of the things that I think is important to remember about it is that we're also talking about how when we leave it up to jurisdictions and jails to decide whether and how to enfranchise people in their jail, we're really giving police the power to directly disenfranchise people even before they're ever convicted of a crime. So if you're out protesting the night before an election, which is something we've seen a lot in the last few months, and you get arrested exercising your First Amendment rights to protest, if the jail doesn't have infrastructure ready to give you a ballot, that means that you could get deprived of your most fundamental political right, which is your right to vote. And I think that that's scary, and it's something that we shouldn't leave up to chance. We shouldn't leave up to the hopes that to the extent you call it that, hopes that you happen to be incarcerated in a jurisdiction where a sheriff has decided to take the steps that he or she should have taken to ensure that you can exercise your right to vote regardless.